There are currently 13 characters that have been announced as playable in the current version of Relink, or 14 if you separate Gran and Jita. More characters were announced in the past before the scope of the game expanded, but apart from Charlotta, none of the others have been reconfirmed. During the recent Granblue Fest event, we were shown up-to-date gameplay for 7 of these characters. So in this video, I'll be adding some context to that footage and explaining how some of the characters play based on the information that's been released and some of my own observations. These breakdowns won't include every character that's been announced so far, so there's still a chance that these characters could change before release. But hopefully, if what I've managed to figure out about these characters ends up being correct, then this video should give you a better idea of how they plan to make each character unique. The combat system in Relink revolves around the use of character-based combos that can be combined with link attacks and your 4 currently equipped skills. Depending on the content that's been done or the build that you want to go for, these skills can be replaced with others that fit your needs. Combos can also involve additional timing-based elements that involve perfectly evading, timing mid-combo blocks, or even switching stances. The character that demonstrates this the best is the newly revealed character Narmaya. Narmaya is a dark elemental character that uses a combination of magic and martial arts to transform her katana into various other weapons when using specific attacks or skills. During combat, she can switch between 2 stances that let her access different attacks. The free flutter stance is indicated by purple butterflies and Narmaya holding her katana in a high stance. In this stance, Narmaya uses rapid attacks that can hit the enemy multiple times. This stance also seems to rapidly charge an enemy's stun gauge due to the constant barrage of attacks. And when switching to the Dawnfly stance mid-combo, Narmaya releases multiple rapid slashes. The Dawnfly stance is indicated by the pink butterflies and Narmaya holding her katana in a lower stance. This stance has slightly slower attacks, and when holding down the attack button, it's possible to charge and increase the attack radius of a slash that seems like it will be able to hit multiple enemies within a large area. On its own, the charge time of this attack is fairly slow, but the speed of the charge can be increased by using it in a combo or after a skill, and when switching to the free flutter stance during a combo, Narmaya will fire a shockwave from her blade that can hit enemies at range. Based on the gameplay that's been revealed, Narmaya seems to have a very combo-heavy and timing-based playstyle that mixes normal attacks, stance switching, link attacks, and skills into combos that can be looped with no downtime depending on how good your timing and skill cooldown management is. Narmaya can switch stances by pressing the special attack button. If you manage to perfectly time a stance switch at the end of Narmaya's combo, you can go straight into performing another combo in the other stance. This can be continuously repeated, and skills can also be used to extend combos or reposition Narmaya for follow-up attacks. From what's been shown, Narmaya can generate up to 3 butterflies while performing combos. These butterflies are consumed once a skill has been used, which most likely enhances the skill in various ways. It seems like a few of Narmaya's attacks and combos keep her in a fixed location, but the skills that were shown seem to help her with mobility. In one of the skills shown, Narmaya leaps back to create some distance between her and the enemy, and another skill lets her dash towards the enemy to close the distance. She also has attack-focused skills. One deals damage with a quick attack that can then be followed up with a rapidly charging slash when in the Dawnfly stance. And the other skill that's shown transforms her katana into a double-bladed polearm that she rotates around her body while moving towards enemies, which I expect would also deal damage to enemies around her. Based on Narmaya's character mechanics and timing-based gameplay, she seems like she'll be a character that will be extremely powerful after mastering the rhythm to her attacks and stance switching. But she might require a lot of practice and preparation in order to bring out her full potential. Lancelot is a high-speed water elemental fighter that attacks at close range with his twin blades. When using a normal attack combo, it can be extended by rapidly tapping the attack button to continuously slash at high speeds. If these slashes continue for a certain period of time, they will gradually increase in damage. Lancelot can evade and attack enemies at the same time, even while in the middle of a combo. If you move to the left or right, you can roll to evade the enemy or reposition. If you move backwards while pushing the special attack button, you can do an offensive backstep. And if you move forwards while pushing it, you can charge towards the enemy and close the distance. Since this can be performed in the middle of a combo, you can use it to avoid incoming attacks while in the middle of Lancelot's rapid slashes. If you perfectly time an evade, you'll be able to extend the combo, which will help you keep pressure on the enemy. A combo finisher can be used to end the rapid slashes by pressing the special attack button without moving in any particular direction. This can also be followed up with a link attack if the enemy's stun gauge has been filled. Lancelot has various skills that he can use to deal damage, increase his evasive capabilities, and keep enemies under control. His evasive skill creates a type of shield that is referred to as mirror images in the original game, that can absorb up to 3 attacks if Lancelot takes damage within a certain period of time. He also has a skill that can be used to getting close to an enemy while dealing damage, which also seems to let Lancelot skip a few combo steps and jump straight into his rapid slash attacks. And from what's been shown, he also has a skill that can freeze the enemy in place and deals damage over time when you continuously hold the skill button. In the gameplay demonstration, it is shown that Lancelot's attacks are constantly healing him each time he hits the target. It's most likely that this is an equipment effect, but it does show that status effects, multi-hits, and other effects that activate on hit could become powerful when paired with his incredibly fast attack speed. As of right now, Lancelot doesn't seem to have a huge amount of combos, but he makes up for this by being a highly mobile and evasive character that can reliably deal consistent damage to an enemy without needing to worry too much about attack timing, which would make him a good pick for people that are looking for a melee character that can keep the pressure on enemies while still being straightforward and safe to use. However, what will set people apart when it comes to Lancelot will be how well they can master his evasive timing in order to reduce the downtime on his attacks. Just like Lancelot, Charlotta is a character that can also attack and combo at high speed, but rather than focusing on ground-based evasion, she uses high jumps and mid-combo guards in order to avoid damage. Charlotta is a light elemental character that wields an oversized sword, which can be used to continuously perform multiple slashes in the middle of her basic combo if you repeatedly tap the attack button. The longer Charlotta can keep her rapid slashes going, the stronger her special attacks will become, so you'll need to decide if it's worth maintaining her rapid slash combo to increase her overall damage. But leaving things until the last second is still beneficial for Charlotta, since her special attacks can be used to block an enemy's attack if it's used at the same time the enemy attacks her. Her special attacks also seem to have a jump in their animations, so due to her small size, she'll most likely be able to leap over certain enemies' attacks in order to avoid them. Charlotta's skills can also be used to extend her combos or start new ones. One of her skills seems to let her go straight into a rapid slash combo, which can be extended by repeatedly pressing the assigned skill button. She also has another skill that can be used to rush down enemies that are on the ground, reducing their defense when the hit connects, and another that launches her into the air and shoots shockwaves towards the enemy before landing with a spinning finisher. She also has a buff that can be used to reduce the damage taken by 50% for her and nearby party members for a specific period of time. It might be hard to notice during the gameplay shown on the training dummy, but it also seems like certain mid-air attacks home in on enemies, so even if an enemy is slightly at a distance, her spinning slashes will send her in their direction. Charlotta seems to have a fairly straightforward but aggressive playstyle that can evade and block enemies while still being able to keep pressure on them with constant attacks. Based on the gameplay that's been shown, she seems like a character that will require the use of the lock-on feature in order to stay on target, since it seems like her mid-air spinning attacks could be unpredictable if they don't have a designated enemy to track. But if she is locked on, it does seem like she'll have an easy time leaping from target to target. Siegfried is an earth elemental greatsword wielding character that has a heavy emphasis on attack timing. He has a slower attack speed than other characters, but he has an impressive damage dealing potential depending on how well you can time his follow-up attacks. Siegfried doesn't seem to have many combos he can use, so his complexity won't come from having to perform specific combo strings or stance switches. You can do a basic attack combo by repeatedly pressing the attack button, and this can be enough if you just want to deal damage to an enemy. But if you want to unlock his full potential, you'll need to intentionally time each swing of his attacks. There doesn't seem to be an obvious visual indicator of when the best time to attack is, so it seems like you'll need to practice and feel the timing for yourself. Based on the gameplay shown, it seems like attacking just as the animation for the current swing is about to end is the sweet spot. If you manage to attack with good timing, Siegfried will glow red, indicating that the power of the next swing will be increased. As each hit of his combo is performed with perfect timing, the animation displayed will gradually become more impactful. The enemy's stun gauge will fill faster, and the combo can be extended with a powerful finishing attack that can then be continued into a skill or a link attack. When using a finishing attack or a special attack, Siegfried will gain super armor, making him resistant to interruption when being hit by an enemy. This special attack can also be used while in the middle of a combo, which I assume will be used to keep pressure on enemies in situations where other characters would usually need to block or evade the attack. Based on what was shown in the most recent gameplay demonstration and what we've seen in previous gameplay videos, Siegfried can use buffing skills that increases attack and defense, and offensive skills that can be used to perform a quick attack that lets Siegfried leap towards the enemy to close the distance, and another skill that can be used to send a shockwave that damages enemies directly in front of him. Siegfried seems like a character that will be best for people that want to be rewarded for playing skillfully. Rather than repeatedly pressing attack buttons until a combo animation is finished, Siegfried needs more deliberate inputs in order to reach his full potential. Based on what's been shown, he can deal a huge amount of damage in single hits, and due to the armor on his special attacks, he can continuously deal damage to enemies even while they're attacking. Rackam is a fire elemental character that uses guns to attack enemies from a distance. Repeatedly tapping the attack button will fire his gun in a rapid fire mode for a quick barrage of attacks. His normal attack can also be fired in a 3-shot burst mode by repeatedly holding and releasing the attack button. If you use the burst mode with the correct timing, it seems to increase the power of the shots and the speed that the heat gauge rises. The heat gauge will continuously rise as Rackam hits an enemy, but when no attacks are made, it will begin to decrease. The more the heat gauge increases, the faster Rackam's special attack will charge, resulting in an explosive shot when it's fully charged. His special attack can reach up to 5 levels of power while being charged, and this charge time can be fairly slow when used with low heat. So the speed increase caused by the heat gauge is worthwhile when you want to include a special attack in his combos. However, his combo potential does seem to be fairly low in comparison to other characters due to his playstyle, but he still has his normal attacks, special attacks, skills and link attacks to work with. Rackam has skills that can deal damage in a large area and continuously increases heat gauge as it hits enemies. He also has another offensive skill that deals damage and reduces the defense of enemies, and he also has supportive skills like his double tap buff that increases the amount of hits he does with his normal attacks. And his evasive skill duration will increase his heat gauge to maximum if he evades a hit while under its effect. Most of the characters revealed so far have a focus on melee combat, so Rackam will most likely feel completely different to use. But due to his focus on range combat, he could be a good character to use for players that are not familiar with action games, since he can attack enemies without needing to be too close to them. But that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be easy to play, since he seems to be a character that will require consistent heat, skill and link attack management in order to fully take advantage of his playstyle. Due to his single target and range focused playstyle, Rackam could be at a disadvantage when surrounded by close range enemies. But thankfully, with his low cooldown evasive skills, he should be able to keep a safe distance, making it seem like he'll be one of the safest characters to play. It's still too early to tell for sure, but I have a feeling that Rackam will shine when fighting against fast-moving enemies while he's locked on, or when fighting against enemies that can fly in mid-air. Yodarha is a wind elemental character that dual-wields swords to perform high-speed attacks. He doesn't seem to have a wide range of combos, but it does seem like he'll be rewarded if you can perfectly repeat the combos that he does have. Repeatedly looping his combos without interruption will continuously increase the speed of each following combo. Looping also seems to shorten the amount of combo hits needed in order to use his finishing attack, resulting in the earlier parts of the previous combo being gradually skipped until only the final downward strike and the multi-hit finisher are performed. It also seems like continuously looping combos adds to a resource that seems to influence his skills. If it's anything like the original game, I assume this resource could be the relink version of Yodarha's triple shroud mechanic that enhances his skills in various ways. This resource has 3 different stages, and I assume the higher the level, the stronger the effect of the skill once it's used. After a skill is used, the level of the resource resets, but it can be raised again when more combo loops have been performed. Based on the gameplay shown, a finishing attack can be used directly after a link attack or a skill has been used, so the momentum of the combo loop doesn't need to stop if you want to mix skills into the combo. The skills shown so far seem to be damage focused, like a skill that deals damage in a large area around Yodarha, based on what was shown in the trailer. He also has another damage focused skill that sends a shockwave out directly in front of himself, and another that performs multiple slashes. His last skill seems to be a mix of offense and defense if the button inputs are pressed with the right timing. If the attacks are timed right, it seems like you'll be able to use this skill to attack and evade at the same time, before finishing it off with a flashy attack that creates multiple shadow clones and ending with a combo finisher. Just like Narmaya, it seems like Yodarha will also have a heavy emphasis on keeping a rotation of combos and skills going in order to bring out his full potential. He's a character that may seem very simple to play at first glance, but keeping track of timing his attacks as he continuously increases in speed, while also having to avoid hazards and enemy attacks, could require a lot of practice and concentration. The gameplay shown during the demonstration shows that they definitely have thought about their character design and ways to truly make each character feel unique, not just with character skills, but also with resource management, combo and skill rotations, and even attack or evasion timings. The examples of the characters do seem good on a stationary target like a training dummy, but we'll need to see how they function in real gameplay. We need to see if certain aspects of a character can be fully utilized in challenging content, where characters will most likely have less of a chance to stand still and complete a full rotation of their combos, and where enemies will constantly be on the move both on the ground and in the air. So far, things are looking good for the combat in Granblue Fantasy Relink. Now I'd like to learn more about the world and the type of things we'll be able to do in the game. Hopefully that's what the next info drop will be about, but if I learn anything new, I'll be sure to let you know. So be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when the next video is available, because you won't want to miss what I'm currently working on. That video and many others will be available very soon, but in the meantime, here's another video that you might find interesting.